Okay, so welcome to this week's Sunday night live stream. She's Cheryl,
He's Ken.
and together we're going to talk about some cool stuff today. I got my calendar schedule a little confused, so I thought I had a guest today. I don't, but we have some pretty interesting things to talk about, and our guest will talk later about upcoming shows. And Deborah is she's a friend of ours, and she's got some cool stuff to share next week. But to start with, we're going to ask our usual question: where are you watching from? We always like to know where our audience is watching from, and you can go ahead and do us a favor and put that in the comments. So that's a good place to start. Let us know where you are. Now, we're in our home office this week. Next week, we're actually going to be live with Deborah up in Orlando. And so we're gonna be in the same place with a guest, which is not the norm for us. So we're looking forward to that, but it'll be fun. The following week, we are going to be, so that'd be the 6th. The following week, we'll actually be live from here. And we'll talk more about some of the other shows. But anyway, let us know where you're watching from. And even if you're just watching on the replay, if you have suggestions, comments, please do us a favor. Put them in the either in the comment in the Facebook group or put them in the comment on YouTube, because we always try to answer them, and it helps us to know what we can provide to help you. I wanted to share a couple of things to start with. We're going to share some gadgets that are designed to make traveling with a wheelchair a little bit easier. And the first gadget I'm going to share is, let me put my screen in there, sorry. So I share that. I talked to myself. Let's put it down there. And this is kind of a challenge that we have. If we forget our gadgets, is we wind up with too many things that you're trying to hold and not enough places to put them. So this is a really inexpensive, let's call it a saddlebag. They call it an armrest pouch. But it's just a place to store your cup, your phone, a little bit of stuff. You have a zippered pouch there as well. So it's kind of a neat accessory, especially if you're going to be off the ship for a long time. When you're in the wheelchair, well, like for example, if I'm pushing Cheryl, she wants to take pictures, and she's got a bottle of water and her phone, and she's using a camera. She's out of hands real easily. So it's just nice to have a place to put things. And if you're not a fan of the side pouch, we got a couple of other things that we'll share with you. And so Cheryl has this as well. It's a cup holder that you can just screw on in the front of the, like she'll screw it on the front vertical bar on the wheelchair.
It also works well on a walker. I've used it on my walker.
Yeah, and again, it gives you a place to store your bottle of water so your hands are free. Again, and these are inexpensive things, and since we're coming up on Amazon's Prime Day and Black Friday sales and some of these things, there might be some chances to pick up some at a discount. There are links in the description, either in Facebook or in the YouTube description to these. They are affiliate links with Amazon, which means if you click on it and you buy it, I get a very small commission. It doesn't affect your price one way or the other. But these are things that we thought were pretty helpful. We like this one. Here's another one that I like. This is a really flexible little device that lets you mount a gimbal or a webcam, something that has like a screw mount like a camera, except it's a little small to mount a full size, like you wouldn't mount a DSLR to it. But for Cheryl's wheelchair, it's easy to mount a short tripod or a short selfie stick to it, and with the an action camera on it. And then it makes it easy to get a bird's eye, or let's say a Cheryl's eye view, would be a good way to describe it, of what's going on. Because
the wheelchair users do.
Yeah, there we go. And I know for people that use wheelchairs, sometimes it's nice to be able to see what it's like from your height, not from my height, because if I'm walking around, it's usually up farther in the air. So, and, it takes all, it just unclamps when you're getting ready to travel. It works pretty good. So we have that as well. This is let's say this is a gadget that is not for the person in the wheelchair. It is for the person pushing the wheelchair, because it lets you, it raises up, but even more importantly, the solid grab bar means that you can grab it in the middle, and then by moving your wrist, you can steer the wheelchair. Because a lot of times, like in the airport, I may be pulling a roll around and pushing Cheryl, and if I push on one side or the other, the wheelchair obviously wants to roll off in the wrong direction. By grabbing in the middle, I can push it straight very easily. And then if I need to turn it, I can just, in most cases, with my wrist, get enough turn to get her pointed in the right direction. So this one's a little more expensive. I would say don't do what I did, because I made a mistake with this, is that I left the bar in a taxi, on a boat, somewhere on our, I think it was our last trip.
Our California trip.
Yeah, or when we went to California. That's right.
It's also nice if you're like me and you can do some walking, but you have a wheelchair like mine's for my back. It actually is easier, I think, to push the wheelchair with that than it is sometimes with the handle, especially if I'm tall, and it raises it up a little more.
Yeah. So for a lot of reasons, the only thing that I would do if I was going to make it this different is I'd actually put like a tiller handle on it, but it works fairly well like this, and it's one of those things. The next time we go with her wheelchair, we'll take that. And I would say that right now we've got coming up trips where we're going to actually fly with the Will C2 from Scoot Around, and that's going to be interesting, because I didn't realize you can gate check it. You can gate check it, so that's going to make life, I think, a little easier and a little more interesting. So now we're going to come to some cool stuff.
Oh, also, if your subscribe button is red, while he rearranges the screen, if your subscribe button is red, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. If it's not red anymore, then you're already subscribed.
Oh, thank you. Cheryl's taking care of us. And I wasn't looking down at the comments. I get wrapped up in talking. So we had Kelly's joining us from Houston. Nice to have you with us, Kelly. I hope you're enjoying the show. We have Pam, who's a regular. She's getting there, and what a cool thing. I'm not sure which cool thing. And and Pam, yes, it should work for you in Canada, to answer all the questions. We got caught up. Here's cool stuff now.
Now we're going to look at more technologically advanced.
Now, the things I showed you are all inexpensive. Like I said, those are just little handy gadgets. Here's some things that I don't get any commission on. I'm not trying to sell them. We just subscribed to a new magazine and ran across some stuff. And by the way, the side pouch. Okay, yeah, that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
We're going down to a trade show Friday.
Yeah, this coming Friday.
Yeah, we're coming up this Friday, so we'll have a report for you. We'll try to build that into next week's show too, or the show after that, because we're going down to and it's one of the things about being close to Miami is there's things to go see. So we're going to go down and visit an accessible travel trade show. So we'll be talking to a lot of vendors. I'll be getting some footage, pictures. So we'll have some things to share from that. But here's one. This is probably the peak of the cool right here.
This is the iBot wheelchair. It can climb steps with one person helping you or by yourself, depending on your ability. It goes over rough terrain, sand. It goes just about everywhere. But of course, if you have to buy it yourself, you may not have the money to go anywhere by the time you buy it. These are we were going over the minimum expenses, and these are some of the higher ones. And it's possible that you have an insurance policy or something, or buy some. So that was, you'll see, I like that one because it just can go over a curb by itself. You only need help or have to assist it to go up a full flight of steps.
Yeah, and like I said, that was kind of amazing technology. It's not cheap, but for people that have to live, hopefully we're going to see that one on down there in the show in person. I'm hoping.
Let's just show the comments.
I'm sorry.
And show the comment above it. So Pam's seen that one online. Yes, it is amazing, and they are supposed to have it on the show, the accessible show this Friday. So hopefully we'll get a really close-up look at it.
Maybe they'll let Cheryl drive it.
Maybe we can find out if they have any kind of like financing for some of these things.
Okay. And here's another thing that is really cool. This is, I believe, at no cost. It's available in Europe right now. I would love to see this in the U.S. So check out this one. It's called the C-Track. So that one was something that I saw. Like I said, they seem to have them a lot in Europe. This one, the .gr would be for Greece primarily. But I thought that was really so cool because of the things for accessibility at beaches in the U.S. You see Moby mats and other things, but they don't get you down into the water.
Those are supposed to be coming to North America, according to an article. I don't know what beach is getting them or where, but I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, so we thought that was really cool. Let you get out in the water, and not have to stay in the chair. We're gonna have video of Cheryl in a floating beach wheelchair coming up from Barbados, but that doesn't, it's not like that where you can just get out there and actually swim and be free of it. So anyway, we thought was pretty cool. This is an interesting concept too. We didn't have a video on this, right?
I don't think so. Now this one I couldn't find a video for it, but this is a two-person device, I guess you could say. It's a wheelchair and a bike. They work together so that one person, instead of pushing the wheelchair, can ride the bike to push the wheelchair. And then when you get where you're going, the wheelchair can come off of the bike and you can just use the wheelchair alone. So it's I thought that was very interesting. If you've got a young person and that's able to bike you around, that's great. And I know there are some places where bicycles are so common, and a lot of people use bicycles. That's a great invention there.
Yeah, and they're using it on what I would have considered rough terrain there, that cobblestone street. So anyway, that was something, and I'll show you where we found these things. But I thought that was kind of interesting. We have one more gadget that's pretty cool, so we'll show you this video. And so we could think of that as kind of, let's call it a Segway for wheelchair users. And I think that's what the technology is based on. But again, it seemed like a pretty cool way to be able to get around.
They had something on their webpage asking if you already had a Segway, so I'm thinking maybe I don't know, maybe if you have a friend with a Segway that doesn't use it anymore, maybe you can trade it in for the wheelchair or get a discount. Not sure. But anyway, that looks interesting too. I do like the one that goes up high for, it's very hard. Ken and I have sometimes gone to some, conventions and sessions. And when I'm down in the wheelchair and everyone else is standing around having snacks, you just kind of feel like you're standing in a hole. And so I like the one that raises up.
Yeah. I mean, it has some real advantages to be able to be eye height. Okay, so this is a free magazine. It's called Accessible Journeys. And I put there's links to all of these things in the comments. But I just got that, and that's where these, where we found these devices. They actually have, just to make me feel better, they have where they talk about vloggers. Cheryl and I are in there. But they have accessible locations. There's just a ton of useful information in there. And so, and like I said, it's free. So it's just one of those things I thought would be.
They have a whole magazine. One whole magazine was devoted to autism. So if you know someone who has that would be a very, very useful magazine.
Yeah, so here's a wheelchair guide to Tampa, Florida, Dubai. This one is Ecuador and Galapagos tour. That's an ad kind of thing. They had, I'm not sure, I think being a nudist in a wheelchair has the potential to be really painful, just saying. Depending on your chair, I guess. But anyway, quite a few things in there about accessibility. It talks about in this issue, Alaska Airlines. Let's see, did they have also cool innovations right there?
Yeah, this is where I looked for some of the things.
Allow cookies. I'll close that. So we'll go back to.
Well, you can just go through 2 pages and then click on it, I think. I might have had to go all the way through. This one thing, their webpage works pretty good except for some of the... Oh, there you go. This time it worked. On a smaller screen, it just flips the page when you get down in that right-hand corner.
Yeah. So anyway, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. A lot of information. It's one of those things that, again, when you're planning trips, you can't have too much good information. And so I thought I would share it. I didn't want to keep it as a secret. Okay. All right. We'll see you, Pam.
Yep. So that was mostly what we wanted to share tonight. Just give you some things to see how the technology is really trying to help us, and see what might be coming in the future. And then for our travel plans, we have a lot coming up. So some of our shows will be here. One show we might have in an airport, or we might be able not to have it in the next couple weeks. We'll just have to see how that goes at the airport, if we can find a quiet place.
Yeah. So on the 6th, we'll be in Orlando with Deborah Schroeder. That show's going to be super because she is, her website is Traveling Well for Less. And when I want to know the best way to find a great deal on travel, Deborah's who I reach out to because she's really good at helping.
Stop the share.
Oh, stop the share. Well, I'm sharing the calendar.
Oh, you are. Oh, okay.
All right, so that'll be the 6th. On the 13th, we will be here. I'm hoping to have a guest from one of the islands we're going to visit coming up. The 20th, we will be on board the Rhapsody of the Sea in Barbados. She sails about 10 o'clock at night. I am hoping that we'll have good bandwidth there. That's close to the equator. We're sitting still, so we should have good bandwidth. So we're going to go live from the ship is our plan. On the 27th, that show is going to be probably from the airport in Barbados because we'll be flying from Barbados back to Miami.
And then after that, we'll be on a couple different cruise ships, and we'll just have to see. We'll let you know when it comes closer.
Yeah. December 4th, we should be on, or we'll be on the Valiant Lady. So we're going to try to go live from her. And then on the 11th, we will be on the Norwegian Prima. So we'll try to be live from the Prima. And then the 18th, we should be back home. But we should have some real stories to tell because we're going to visit 7, 8, 9. We're going to visit 9 islands we've never visited. So we'll have a lot of new islands. We'll have a lot of videos. And you'll start to see that you're going to get videos faster. I'm working with a company to help me with catch up on some of the editing. So you should start to see videos coming out on our YouTube channel more frequently than they have been lately because it's real easy to get behind the power curve. So and that's kind of what happened with me. But anyway, lots of videos coming. We're going to try to stay on our live schedule as much as we can while we're traveling. We appreciate everybody joining us today, and we'll see everybody next Sunday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.